2Pac is my favorite artist of all time, right? He might not be the most lyrical miracle rapper, but nobody spoke with more conviction and passion than him. Do you remember any deep conversations that you had with him, or did he ever like talk about death with you? Just stuff where you were like, damn.
I not personally directly about things. It usually be about where my security does something like that, or just being around all the time. Just talking in a group or being at conventions or places like the Brotherhood Crusade, where he took a bunch of gang members and talked to them and was talking to them about the Black Panther or philosophies and stuff like that. Oh, very much. If you listen to any of the Black Panthers, you're gonna be hearing a lot from his stepdad in the upcoming future. A lot of people think he's like bedridden or anything like that. He's not like that. He probably had the disease, Dr. Matula. But once y'all hear that, man, y'all gonna hear Tupac all over, and his training and his mother's training, which bred them, because that's the type of philosopher, and that's how Tupac's training was, and so that's what was embedded in him deeply. Now, he also told y'all it's a white man world, and so when speaking that, he knew that and he learned that. And what we meant by that, and what we mean by that, we don't be disrespectful, because race is race. I mean, just because you're a race, you're not a different person. But don't make you any less or better of a person. But he knew that you have to say and play the right thing. So sometimes you gotta, as Kanye learning right now, as Kyrie learning right now, you gotta scale back things, and you gotta present it a different way. And so that's why you will say, well, if he was the Black Panther revolutionary or something like that, he didn't always speak that, because you see, he started off that way with some of his songs. He was real political and all of that. But you notice he started toning it down because he had become more mainstream. We all love him and know him like that, like we do today, because of what has happened and how we built him up and all of that. But back in the early 90s and all of that, his album was only selling 500,000 to a million. Right. He didn't come as mainstream as we know of him today. You'll go back and look at the numbers and say, oh, well, Strictly for My Niggas was that album wasn't bumping like a EPMD or LL or people like that was. You got to remember, even as far as 1995, Coolio, Gangsta Paradise beat him out for Best Song of the Year at the MTV Music Awards. See, and so Tupac popularity and lyrics and all of that, it was something that grew on us later in time. It wasn't always a popular. The wording that he was putting out wasn't always as popular to the masses. There were a few people that got it, in the early '90s and stuff like that. But most of his fans and his audience base, I'll be honest, came out this deal.
Yeah. I feel like he was really respected because of the message early on, but it wasn't like people were putting it on massive replay like that, right?
Exactly.
Like you knew if you really fucked with the message and everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so I feel like what you're saying is a lot of times, and he said this before too, where it's like you have to enter somebody's world in order to lead them out of it, right? You need to.
Exactly.
He was trying to tell the people what they wanted to hear in order to be able to tell them what they needed to hear. And you've seen videos where he kind of talks about those certain things.